Let me ask this first, I think, to Mr. Chow and then Dr. Montgomery and then to the minister. It's, I think, should be better known in the United States that Russia's budget, its national budget, is 52% made up of energy revenues. I'm going to ask our staff to get information about the U.S. budget, which is, I'm sure, considerably less. It's been written over the course of several years that Russia has continued to use what has been termed, it's not my term, but someone else termed this, energy blackmail, to ensure they keep their state coffers full. Foreign Policy reported over the last 20 years, Russia has used this energy blackmail more than 40 times, including countries such as Lithuania who testified. You know, Mr. Chow, you said that there's no silver lining. Our actions today might not take immediate effect. Dr. Montgomery, you were a lot more bullish on your position. So I'd like to ask you all, what are the steps that, in your opinion, the U.S. should take to reduce Russia's influence, to reduce their quick access to cash, to promote policies that are not in our interest and not in the interest of Europe and democracies around the world? Starting with you, Dr. Montgomery. What are the one or two things that we should do?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will stick to energy things that we could do because I don't offer myself as an expert on others, and I'm sure there are many others that could accomplish what you're talking about as well. I make it that, based on your numbers, revenues from natural gas are probably somewhere around 20% of energy revenues, 10% therefore of the Russian budget. If we could take out half of that, that would be about 5% of their budget. I know what the budget committees in Congress would feel about that if it happened to the United States. So I think that would be effective. I agree with Mr. Goldwyn that it's the potential competition that is really important. It is, and we see this in industry after industry where a monopolist restrains themselves because they know that if they go much above competitive pricing, there are others who are not in the market now but are ready to leap in. That's the position the United States needs to be in. And I agree with the minister that the critical part for that is some form or another of removing the, moving past the DOE process, of making it clear that there is a policy commitment not to cap natural gas exports, not to stop that, not to prevent trades being made that are at the advantage of both our allies and ourselves, but also dealing effectively with potential problems with natural gas production, dealing with issues of shale gas and potential regulations that could hurt its production.
Okay, Mr. Goldwyn, would you like to add anything?
Yes, please.
Or disagree with anything that was said?
I don't disagree with what's said. I think I have a short list of 5 things I think the U.S. could do that could really reduce Russia's influence. The first is diplomatic. We have a big agenda with Europe. If they integrate their gas market, then they'll be able to move gas around and we'll be able to help more. The second is I started a program called the Global Shale Gas Initiative when I was at the State Department. It's now called the Unconventional Gas Technology Program. We could do a lot more to provide technical assistance to other countries to help them develop their shale gas resources safely and efficiently. I think the third thing, as we've talked about, obviously would be to accelerate our ability to connect to the global market on gas. I think we could encourage the Europeans to provide credit support to a lot of these projects in Europe. A lot of these economies are in bad shape, as Dr. Montgomery and Dr. Chow know very well. They have a lot of work to do before they can get prices right, so people want to invest there. But I think the European Union could give credit support to a lot of those countries to enable them to build these interconnectors and projects. And I think we should, as we have for decades, encourage oil production, both here at home and overseas, because the more supply there is coming from Mexico or other places, or even our own exports, if we get to a point where we can do that, we drive the global price of oil down. And when the price of oil goes down, Russia's revenues are reduced, and other countries have other choices of supply.
Okay. Dr. Chow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually don't disagree too much with what my colleagues have to say, except in terms of timing, and to be a little bit modest as to how much immediate impact we can make while not perhaps attending to more urgent matters such as shoring up Ukraine. In addition to what my colleagues have already said, I would emphasize the fact that our European allies are the ones with leverage over Russia on oil and gas imports, not us. 80% of Russia's oil and gas exports go to Europe. They don't have many alternatives in the short to medium term. The pipelines to China are not built yet, although Mr. Putin may be trying to do that when he visits China in May. A number of the allies we met with, President Obama met with yesterday and today, have shale gas bans. We should send David back to Paris, where there's an effective ban on even looking at exploring the resource that might be in France. Germany has an effective ban on fracking. Germany, 40% of Germany's gas demand comes from Russia. So getting together with our allies to talk about what they can be doing in Europe to improve their own situation as well as lessen their dependency on Russia would be a very good thing in my mind.